It's a great honor for us to have our dad get honored with this. Growing up, Drake was the life of our family. Everything centered around Drake and his ability to make a good connection to us with Drake, and that balance between the two. But to see his work and his dedication to the university be recognized is great.
Good. He lived and breathed Drake. My kids grew up with Drake, and Drake's just always been a part of our life. He went to school here, and he left Drake 4 hours before he died. So Drake was his life.
Yeah. As his son, just seeing him, I would say that the athletics drove him to the ability to understand hard work. It gave him his work ethic that he passed on to his recruits and us as children too. But he also did a good job of understanding that coaching is a process of developing young people, and not only just their athletic abilities, but them as a character too. And
education, he was competitive. He was a coach. He wanted his kids to win, but he also wanted them to win in the classroom. It was very important to him. He was a very good high school athlete and won state awards for track. And he happened to be in a class that was very successful in all sports. And so Winterset High School was known. And so Bob Carnes came out from Drake and recruited him, and he was thrilled. His parents were thrilled that he could come to Drake. It was just meant to be.
I think for sure Bob Carnes was a big influence for him, just not only through the recruiting, but then as he graduated from Drake and became a grad assistant and started his coaching career at Drake. Bob became his mentor too, and I think Bob drove a lot of his work ethic and beliefs on how to coach. I think a cool story that I have is Dad recruited a gentleman by the name of Stanley, and Stanley was from Nigeria?
Yes.
Nigeria. And Stanley came here with nothing, and he brought him into our family. As a young kid, I remember Stanley going to the grocery store with us and calling my mother Mom in the grocery store. And back then that was not necessarily a normal thing to see. And so my father bringing in these athletes and then taking them under his wing and coaching them to be an athlete, but coaching them to be a great human being also. That was pretty cool. And he had a lot of Missouri Valley Coach of the Year awards that he was able to achieve through the teams that he recruited. So, and yeah, I know my mom was mentioning that Drake's an easy place to recruit because of its academic standards, and parents obviously liked that a lot, but to be able to field a competitive team was also a great achievement. It's one of the great things about Drake is that it holds our student athletes to a higher standard than most of our competitors, which is really a good deal. But he's always had teams that perform special in certain ways. You can remember at the relays, he'd field teams that won events, and to see the stadium and how it would just erupt when a Drake athlete would win an event at the Drake relays, it was second to none. It was probably the coolest feeling ever to see that happen. My stories, what I didn't realize is he worked for the grounds crew department while he was at Drake. He helped run it, and so he was, I think, intermixed in every aspect of Drake that you could think of, through the grounds crew department, all the way up through, education, being a professor. So he not only did he have athletics, but he had the operations side of Drake and then the education side. And on top of that, he also ran the concession stands for the university. And he brought a large part of our family into it. We all ran the concession stands. now in our working profession, I meet individuals all the time that either ran for my father or went to Drake and knew of him, or I know through Drake also. But it's kind of interesting how many lives he actually touched, and how often I run across people that knew him. So that's kind of the neat thing about this award, because he had a big legacy here, and to be able to, on a daily basis, see how he touched people was pretty awesome. Not only was Drake his life, but he brought his family into Drake, and Drake was our life too. So.
And we're very pleased to have a tree.
Yeah.
That's planted at the north end of the stadium, because that's where he usually stood to do his coaching, and it was given by the men's track team.
Yep.
When he died.
Yep.
And then the chair was donated by Gary Wilson, the coach at Minnesota, and then he has a race named after him too. He was a hurdler, and so the 110 hurdles at the relays. So we're very pleased with that. That's part of his legacy. Plus, he has a scholarship that's endowed for athletes.